Welcome back to episode 61 of Canes Local. This week we'll talk Canes, Caps, on the road struggles still for the Canes, and more Canes news coming up next. So let's dive right into the WWE that was the Canes and Capitals on, what was it, Tuesday night, Cam? I think it was Tuesday night, right?
It was Wednesday.
Wednesday night? Yeah.
Yep.
I tell you, it was an absolute shit show. You know, it's like one of those things that you pushed around the big bully, and the big bully got mad and took his football and ran home. You know, that's the way it felt, you know. You know, I love the pushback from the Canes. I love everything about that. So, you know, Caps are a good team, no doubt, absolutely no doubt. But when they got some pushback, you know, Tom Wilson showed lost a lot of respect for him. Actually, the way he was going after Aho, and then he went after Stankoven, and you know, there's other guys on the team that he needs to pair up with, and it's not one of those two guys. So
who else on our team is he pairing up with?
Well, you know, guys like Jankowski or even
Jankowski's not
Chatfield.
Fighting Tom Wilson. Chatfield's
no,
not
I know,
fighting
I know,
Tom Wilson.
but who the hell? Should Stankoven though?
No,
I mean, I get it. Or should he even go after Stankoven? I mean, come on.
But in all honesty, should he go after Stankoven? Yeah, that's his job. At the end of the day, if we don't, it's not.
But there's no code there, Kyle.
Yeah, but Dad, we can talk.
There hasn't been a code for.
That's what I'm kind of getting at. Is there's really not a code anymore. So the only way to really
Nobody
answer
answers a bell to anybody anymore.
The only way to answer it is to actually get somebody to answer the bell. Carolina doesn't have somebody to answer that bell. They do have guys that are willing to go, but they're not in that weight class. Granted, there are only a few guys really in that weight class with Tom Wilson. So it's like. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's kind of in that little area that unless he's playing Columbus or he's playing, I mean, Montreal maybe with Harbor Xhekaj, that's about all he's good at right now is just fighting. But like, there's very few guys in the NHL that can really go toe to toe with Tom Wilson. And if nobody can really fight against him, he's going to try and do everything he can to irritate and agitate and take guys like Aho and Stankoven off the ice. He took Stankoven out of the game with him. Like, yeah, I don't think he meant to get a 10-minute match, but if you can take a guy off the ice with you, and that's what he does. That's Tom Wilson's game. And unless Carolina wants to fix it by going to grab somebody, which is too late at this point, then you kind of have to be susceptible to somebody like that's going to go after your top guys.
Yeah,
you just gotta be careful.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand, but you know, at the same time, you know, guy like Tom Wilson, you know, that's just he shouldn't be chasing guys around the ice that are out of his weight class. I mean, I shouldn't be challenging a guy like Sebastian Aho or challenging a guy like
he body slammed.
That's how he's.
Yeah, he body slammed Panarin and head into the ice. Like that's what he does.
And they shouldn't do that. He shouldn't allow. That shouldn't be allowed. So.
Yeah,
but unless the league does something to change it,
the league's got to do. Yeah, that's where I was going. Is the league's got to do something
the oversight.
About. Well, then in that case, Dad, then Chatfield should probably be suspended the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I'm not arguing with you at all.
I don't think Chatfield should be suspended the rest of the season. I just think that it's unfortunately that this is a physical league. That fighting is allowed.
Well, there's a difference between physicality and what he was doing. In my opinion,
I 100% agree.
I don't mind him running. Like that's. I mean,
I think the ref handled it perfectly.
Like that's his game.
I think.
Yeah, but like. Yeah.
In all honesty, how it was handled, the perfect way to handle it. Give him a 10-minute misconduct, send him out of the game when he wants to start acting a fool. That's fine. That's perfect. Next game, I'm presuming they're probably going to do the same thing. The second somebody starts some crap, it's just going to be a 10-minute misconduct right away. Because then guess what? You start three things, you're sitting 30 minutes of the game. Like that's how they're going to deal with it. Is anything of what he did suspension worthy? No, he's not. He's doing what he's going to do. He didn't sucker punch anybody from behind. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary outside of what Tom Wilson's going to do. Unless Carolina wants to counter it by getting somebody like Tom Wilson, then he's going to do that. He does that to every other team in the league. And if Tom Wilson was on our team, we'd want him doing that to other teams. We'd want him running around and if you're telling me we're in a playoff series and we can get Nikita Kucherov off his game by having Tom Wilson run around and hack him because Tampa can't really respond, that I would be asking that in a heartbeat. That would be exactly what I'd want him to do.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's what you want him.
Yes, I get that there's a code, but he's playing the style of game he wants to play. I don't think there needs to be any supplementary discipline, just like I didn't think there needed to be any supplementary discipline with Chatfield's thing. But at the end of the day, the ref handled it on the ice perfectly. Gave him a 10, sent him on his way. He can't play the rest of the game. It's no longer an issue. Guess what? Again, I have no doubt in my mind, come Thursday, there's going to be a response by either Wilson or that other guy that they keep saying. I've never heard of this kid before. McIntyre, no clue. But it's going to be a response. They're going to either actually go and it's going to be resolved then and there. Chatfield's going to have to fight one of the two of them and it's going to get resolved, or they're going to run around like donkeys and they're going to get 10-minute misconducts and they're just going to sit out the whole game. Like, Washington's going to lose in the first round anyways. What are we worried about? It's nothing. Like, come on.
No, I'm not worried about it at all. I didn't like it. So, I thought we'd chat about it. And I think for me, it just wasn't right.
No, is it?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I don't love it, him going after the top guys, but at the end of the day, I mean, he's literally made a paycheck for the last 10 years doing that.
So,
in
all honesty,
that's how he's always been like
he's
that.
He's got 30 plus goals on the season. He's almost got 70 points on the year. He is a top guy on their team. So if we really want to put it out there,
I'd rather him get kicked out of the game.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, it's like, if it was a fourth line guy running around trying to take Aho's head off, it'd be one thing. But he's a top guy. If Washington loses Tom Wilson, they're in a world of hurt as well too. So it's not. I get it. He's in a way different weight class and all that kind of stuff. But he's putting himself at risk as well too. Kind of like if Brady Tkachuk or Matthew Tkachuk are running around, they're their top guys. So it's like they're gonna hurt themselves at some point. But that's the style of hockey that they play. So again, if it was a fourth line guy, I understand exactly what you're saying, Dad. You don't want a fourth line guy running around trying to hurt a first line guy. This is a first line guy. This is a top 6 player in the Washington organization. This is a goal scorer for them. This is a lethal player for them. Like, it's kind of like, again, it would be like Aho going after Panarin if it was the New York series. I don't mind that. If Panarin went after Aho, don't mind that. It's the top guys going after top guys. It's just Tom Wilson's a freak of nature as far as his physique. He's humongous and he's strong as an ox. Like,
yeah, he's a big dude.
It's just it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean,
keep your head up.
I have more of a problem if like Matt Rempe was running around trying to like slash and take Aho and because he's a fourth line guy. He only plays 5 minutes a night and his only job is to go out there and be an idiot. Where Tom Wilson, that's like. Again, when Tom Wilson's not on the ice for Washington, they're a lesser team. So if he's out games, he's suspended games. That's why he hasn't been running around like an idiot this year as much as he usually does, is because he hasn't been suspended, I think, the last 2 seasons. That's because he's actually become a valuable asset for that team. They can't afford to have him off the ice. So if he's getting 10-minute misconducts, happy days. Let him run around let him run around. I'm fine with it. Again, I don't want him taking anybody's head off, but if he does that, then he's missing games. He's on a short leash with the league. You think, like, if he pulled that same stunt Chatfield did, he's getting suspended.
Yeah.
We'll or fine.
I guess we'll table that. I mean, I get what you're saying, and so other than that gong show, which we'll table that piece of the game, is how what were your thoughts on the rest of the game? I thought the Canes really played a pretty good hockey game against them up until that third period when the Capitals kind of came off the rails and all hell broke loose in the third period.
Yeah, it was all the Capitals had was to try and claw their way back into the game in that department. And again, Carolina is not a team that's going to really play into it. They're not going to back down, but they're not going to play into it. The thing with Washington is they've done this in the past and it's worked for them, where they get a team on the penalty kill in the third period a bunch because they just are starting crap, and then the team ends up retaliating and doing. Carolina's not going to retaliate. And if they do in this situation, it's going to be like Washington just kind of lost their head entirely. But yeah, Carolina played really well. Stankoven scoring. It was a beautiful goal. Love to see it. Love seeing Stankoven score. Funny enough, I actually got to watch this game at a bar in Detroit, which was wild to see. I turned it on. I forgot it was on TNT, so I was like, oh, I rolled to the thing, and it's on the national feed. So I was like, oh, cool. I actually get to enjoy a game. But yeah, it was a good game. I just the antics are going to be the antics. If the game is close in Washington in any direction, I don't suspect there's as much of this crap as.
No, it's not going to be.
It's not going to be the
no.
same.
It's
The only
because
reason
of
it
the
was that
score.
way is because it was 5-1.
Yeah, I agree. No, it was. They played well. Obviously, you know they kind of left all the cards on the table for that one, and then they left all the cards at home. I don't know where they had them to put them away or what they did, but the 2 road games have been abysmal. I didn't watch the Friday night game. I watched the game last night. I actually watched it all the way through. I was kind of proud of myself. I usually turn that stuff off, but yeah, no, it was like I said. It was. I didn't think they played horrible last night. At least when I watched. I just
Well,
they
they
didn't capitalize.
yeah,
on
they
their
didn't
chances.
against
They got
Detroit
goalied.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, like I said, I didn't watch.
Yeah.
I can't speak on Detroit. I didn't watch the game, but
No, it's
I'm assuming it was a little kind of a lot of the same. But specifically, I mean, like I said, the Caps game they played really well. They played all 60 minutes. That's how I look at it. So they didn't really have any lapses, and then the 2 road games have been brutal, but the Canes have been really bad on the road all year, so it's no surprise.
yeah.
I thought Freddie was, before we leave the Caps thing, I thought Freddie was really good.
In
I
that
thought he
Caps
was-
game,
Yes, he
yeah.
was very good.
I thought he was really good early. He gave us the opportunity to get up and stay up, and then the guys in front of him just played really well. I mean, in all fairness, the Caps were coming off a back-to-back, so there
Mhm.
could have been a little bit of
tough.
fatigue there, but at the same time, you're stopping Ovi on a breakaway. That's tough. That's tough to do in any stretch, no matter what. But I thought he had in one of his better games all year, was controlling the puck and staying compact and staying in the net and really working the puck down low. I thought he was really, really good.
I have a quick, just before we do leave the Caps, and we're going to circle back to them because somebody did something today, and we kind of have to talk about it at some point. But any guesses as to percentage, and this is shootout as well too, but what percentage of times Ovi scores on a breakaway? I was surprised when I saw this.
Yeah, I think since you're asking, it's probably going to be low.
I just
that's what I would think too.
Throw some numbers
Probably
out
less,
there.
They're like 30%.
I would say 25%.
It's like 8.5%.
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't score very often on a breakaway. So another crazy one. He's got like 370 something goals from that one spot.
Yeah. Well,
It's breath. Like
that's his kitchen. That's for damn sure.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
My big thing with both the Detroit and Carolina games, we in both those games, or in the Detroit and Boston games, in both those games, couldn't really get a timely one, anyways. From kind of both guys. Freddie played well in the Washington game. I will give him that. But in all reality, I think maybe one goal each goaltender it's really on, and then the other bunch are just really poor, lackadaisical defensively. I don't know what kind of happened. I don't know if we kind of just left everything in that Washington game because it was such an emotionally high game where it was just like that. Those games can drain you at times, and then you go travel to Detroit the following day, and then on top of that you have to travel again to Boston. When we lost in Detroit, I knew it was probably going to be an ugly back-to-back game because it just looked like we had no legs in Washington, or in no legs in Detroit. So the fact that we had no legs in the first half of back-to-back, I knew the second half was not going to get any prettier.
It wasn't getting any better.
It wasn't getting any better. So it was going to be more of a hope and a prayer that Boston was just that bad. But coming off of a 10-game losing streak, there's too many guys on that team with too much pride to let that continue on for too long. Pasternak had the hat trick. But the thing that worries me most with these 2 games is and again, it's in a vacuum. A lot happened this past week, and a lot's going to probably continue happening. It's really going to be a test of like, okay, is this a skid time for Carolina, which is scary going right into playoffs? You know, if this continues down, then all of a sudden we got different questions. But I think Carolina's going to bounce back, have a good game against Buffalo. I think they're going to have another good game against Washington as well too, because I just think we match up very well against Washington. But we have to clean up. We had no forecheck in either of those games, and we had no clean passing, which just means we had no puck possession. We would set up every once in a while once we finally got the puck into the zone, but I felt like it took us 10 years half the time to get the puck into the zone cleanly. And even when we did, we would try and force a pass through, and it would just get broken up. And this is kind of both games. I felt like it was an issue, which then leads to just odd man rushes going back the other way. I mean, I think the Boston scored on a breakaway, correct? No, I know Detroit did, because I it was like the Jankowski one is a perfect example of it. We get the puck inside the zone, and instead of getting the puck deep, we try and make it a clean play to Slavin. Ends up going down Patty Kane on a breakaway. Like, you're not stopping Patty Kane on a breakaway. Very few goalies have. That's, you want to talk about the other end of the spectrum. He scores on almost half of his breakaways. So like, it's just we've been so lackadaisical with the puck ever since that Washington game. I don't know what's happened. I know Detroit's hungry for points and they're desperate for them, and maybe that was part of it. But I don't know. I'll pass it over to you guys. Like, Dad, what are you thinking? Is it just on the goalie?
I got to regroup here. It's been about 15 minutes since Cameron and I have said anything. So we'll
shit, my bad.
No, but I agree. I agree that. I wrote it down in my notes when I watched the Detroit game, and I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the Boston game. But at this puck management in our D zone was absolutely horrible. We could not manage the puck. We couldn't get the puck out. We couldn't do any of that. I thought we had some good ozone time, that's for sure, in both games. From what I saw highlights-wise on the Bruin game. But in the Detroit game, I thought we played actually not too bad. I mean, I don't know that I'd put any of the goals on Kochetkov in the Detroit game. Nobody's stopping the Patty Kane goal. And then
the only one I thought
it's
maybe was the first one, just because he overextended a little bit.
Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, it was terrible turnover, puck possession, puck management. I mean, so you're just having to react, and I think that's the biggest culprit. And we'll get a little bit more deep into the woes on the road. But for me, it was puck management in both scenarios. We have to clean that up, especially on the road when we don't have the matchup, we don't have the last change. So those are big, important details we got to get around and get our head around really quick.
Yeah, I mean, I thought overall, I didn't think they played horrible in the Boston game. I think it's just one of those where they have two stints where they score the first and the second goal the last minute of the first period. They score the third and the fourth goal within like a minute of each other. Like, you have those two shifts. There's 2 or 3 shifts that whole game. It's just they're down 4-0.
The same thing in the Detroit game too. They scored their first 2 goals within 42 seconds of each other, and then the second 2 was within like 22 seconds of each other. All of a sudden, it went 0-0 to 2-0 to then 2-0 to 4-0 within the span of minutes. Well, in the Detroit game, it was 2-1 and then 4-1. But
it's crazy. I don't know. Kind of like they just, whenever they give up, that's the thing, is that they can't let their foot off the gas at all, because they let up those grade A's way too much. And obviously, Slavin and Burns were both -5 last night, which I think is the first time that Slavin was ever that deep off the minus end. So, I mean, I don't think they played well. I still think I sit here and want to hit my head with a hammer, because Morrow is still the 7th guy out of rotation. I really just don't get it. I really don't get it. I really just think at this point, I still think he's better than Orlov. I just do. I don't know.
I think he's better than Burns.
I don't know.
I think you put Morrow with Slavin, and I think you see Slavin start to. I'm not saying that it's all on Brent Burns, because I think he's been playing okay hockey as of late. But man, it's like You see
what happens when Slavin doesn't play out of his mind.
Yeah,
they're -5. Yeah. That's what happens.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, that's just, and that should be an eye opener to them. But it's not. Again, I hate harping on this stuff because none of it matters. You know what they're going to do. Like, they're as hard-headed as they come. So, again, I just think it's in my eyes, it's pretty criminal that Morrow's on the outside looking in when, a guy like Orlov and Burns get cooked, I feel like, every game. And Morrow at least is... I only saw one time last night where Morrow made a soft play on the wall. He made a soft, backhand play, but that was the one time I saw it. I didn't see it again. He made that one. I can't tell you how many times Burns got cooked on the outside or Orlov got walked or danced. I don't know, man. It's so frustrating trying to, the people talking about that, we got a contender team and we're second in the East. It's like, I don't know, man. That decor, the way it's constructed right now, that ain't winning a cup. I promise. I'll put it right here. That's not
The
happening.
funny thing is I think we still we have the players to have a winning decor. It's just we're not playing the players to have the winning decor.
Yeah.
And granted, one guy is still on the way over, but in all reality, I think there needs to be a change on the back end, and it needs to be two guys coming out and two new guys coming in, and maybe you only rotate in Morrow to start until you can kind of make sure Nikishin's up to speed with everything. But I'm saying this, and I wholeheartedly believe if Nikishin plays in this playoff run, it's going to be a coming out party and more for him. The NHL will be talking about him going into the offseason of holy crap, Carolina's got their number one defenseman. They got their guy. He's a power play guy. He continues to score. I think he had 4 points in Ska's playoff run this year through the 6 games that they had. He's just a producer. He produces points. He's good defensively. As long as we get him here and we can put him into the lineup, I just don't think that second thing's going to happen. For some weird reason, I don't think it's going to.
Nope.
Yeah, and it really is frustrating because you watch it, and I watched at the end of the Detroit game, and this is sort of symptomatic of where the Canes are right now. Especially on the road. And I think we'll dive into that. I know I said it a few minutes ago, but the road woes are really going to hurt us in the playoffs. If we lose home ice advantage, I mean, of the playoff teams, I don't know the record, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I think we have the worst road record of the teams that are in the playoffs at the moment, or at least pretty damn close to the worst. And that's a really bad scenario to go into the playoffs with. Is not knowing and not feeling comfortable enough to win on the road. So we're just too stagnant in anything, and we look like we didn't have any energy. Like at the end of the Detroit game, I mean, we had 6 guys on the ice, and we were just working it around the perimeter. Where there was no motion, there was no movement, there was no cycling, there was no transitioning from one side of the ice to the other. There was no motion. It was just pass the puck around the outside, and it's like, shit, I'd take that all day long if I'm Detroit. I'll just keep the guys to the outside and let them, not get pucks through, and then
just let them tire themselves out.
I mean, so,
real quick, we got
to figure out the road win.
Technically speaking, the second worst home record of teams inside of play, or second worst away record out there for teams inside of playoffs. Montreal is 16, 18, and 4 on the road, and we are 16, 18, and 3 on the road. So technically speaking,
I
mean, we're just as bad.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, that's a real problem that we got to figure out, and I think Rod's got to figure out how to win on the road. It was our downfall last year too.
Can I just pose this question? Do you think maybe the fact that we spend all of our time always focusing on, we need to make sure we have the right matchups, we need to make sure we have the right this, we need to make sure we have the right that when the game then is taken outside of our control with having all of that becomes our sole focus, and we don't focus on actually playing hockey anymore? It just feels like, why do we, maybe if we just stop talking about it all the freaking time and being like, we struggle on the road because we can't get the right matchups. We struggle with whenever this X, Y, and Z just stop talking about it. Just go play hockey. Stop worrying so much about the matchups at home as well too. Stop making your game revolve around matchups, and maybe we'll start winning some away games, because then you're just going out to play hockey. You think the best team, you think Colorado, who's got arguably, I think Colorado's got the best away record. Let me double check.
I do think they still worry about matchups.
But not to the extent that I think Rod does. Do you think Bednar goes into an away room and he's like, oh my goodness, we're gonna get cooked because we can't get the right matchup out there tonight? I think he's like, if I can roll at least my top 3 lines pretty consistently, I'm comfortable. He doesn't play his
Well, he
fourth
plays
line
his top 2
religiously,
lines.
but
No, he doesn't play his 4th line at all. And 3rd line they're lucky if they get 8 minutes each.
Yeah.
So
I-
it's really
yeah.
the 1st line. That's why he doesn't worry about it, because he's like, I don't care. I'll throw McKinnon on the ice. I don't
so
care.
then maybe in road
Which
games, we
again, it's
start
a good
doing
problem
that
to
more.
have. Like I would rather have that than the other way around. So I mean, I think too, it's getting the and matchups obviously are important because
100%.
it
I'm not
allows you
saying
to
that they're not.
dictate the game. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think they focus on it too much. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for us to say, kind of being on the outside looking in. But yeah, I honestly don't think it's they generally don't have a huge problem. Generally, there's a couple of games, obviously, just like there's been a couple of games at home, but they generally don't have a huge problem scoring on the road, which is a good thing. It's all the D zone stuff. They just, I don't know, they get lost or what. And I think that all comes back to kind of like what Dad was saying earlier, is about puck management, like breaking the puck out of the zone. You got to make sure the puck gets out of the zone. Even if you're high flipping it to the other blue line, who cares?
Yep.
Just get it out of the zone. Because if it's not in your zone, it's probably not in your net. So just get it out of the zone.
And if
at
it
the
is,
end of
that's
the day.
not on
And
you.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
no,
if it is, that's
exactly.
on the
That's
goalie.
not on
Like,
you. Like,
yeah.
you did your job.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I was thinking about it on the drive home today. It's like, that's going to be our biggest downfall. If we lose home ice advantage in the playoffs, that's going to be the biggest thing that Roddy's going to have to overcome or figure out a plan for, or, it's going to be an early exit if, we head into round 1 as the away team, not having home ice advantage. So, I don't see that happening.
Round
that
one,
we lose it,
round one, we're safe.
well, we're safe, but after that, I mean, it's all bets are off after
Well,
that.
we're
point.
safe
So,
in round 2 as well because Washington's not winning round 1. So
well, I mean, fair enough, but
you go.
you hope that you hope. Well, you never know who. So you play. Yeah, you would. We would be.
we'd
yeah,
have
for
Montreal second round.
Sure. Yeah. So
That would be them, but I think that right now that would be the only team we wouldn't have a home ice advantage on in
Right.
the East. So,
so
and I don't know
mean,
what their position is in the league, but
yeah, but I think again,
Toronto's ahead of us right now. So.
we still have to win
okay.
we still have to figure out how to win on the road because it's going to be it's hard to win a cup with winning every series
playing
going 7 games.
Every game
That's
going
just
7.
really
That's
really
tough.
hard to do, and and I don't know that we have the makeup of a group that can go through that grindy component because
Not as they're constructed.
yeah,
now.
so
No.
we have
especially the D
we
core,
have to win on the
but-
road, and we absolutely have to get a save when we absolutely need one. And I
know.
think we did in the Washington game. I think Freddie got us a save early that we needed, and we're just not getting that yet out of. I mean, Kochekov will make some crazy good saves in the Detroit game, but he doesn't make the save when we need him to early in the game, and we're chasing games here lately on the road, and that's almost impossible for us to come back with when we're chasing games on the road.
Getting behind in the first period has been like a symptom. Like even in the Boston game, they're down 2-0
Yeah.
going. Same thing in Detroit. I think they're down 2-0.
2-0,
or
yeah,
3-1.
early. Yeah.
Like you can't, like, it's so hard to like work yourself up to want to play the rest of the game when you're down 2-0 already. You're like, oh, here we go again, So yeah, I think on the road, the first goal should be, let's get to first intermission 0-0.
Yep.
They were close in the Boston game. I give them that. They were really close. They played really well for like 18 minutes, and then that shift and a half, they fell apart. Just absolutely fell apart.
I
So
got a new concept. Let's how about as a team we start on time for once. It feels like all year we haven't. Like because
like I said, I don't think they started pretty well yesterday in Boston. They had a minute and 10 seconds at the end of the period where they just got scored on twice.
100%.
So.
But Dad was just going back to on that in the Detroit game. Kochetkov didn't get the same save early, but that was off of 2 defensive zone turnovers really quick. And it's like, so
For
the
sure.
team's got to start on time, because if we start on time, I have a feeling one of those two doesn't go in, then the other one doesn't go in, and then all of a sudden it's a different hockey game. But like, I feel like probably 40 to 50% of our games, it takes us until about halfway through the second period to even realize we're in a hockey game. Maybe that's
Yeah.
just my point
No,
of view
no,
from the
no, you're
outside,
not
but
wrong.
it's just like,
Especially on the
it
road.
feels like it's
Yeah, you're not
all year.
You're
It's been
definitely
like
not
that.
wrong. Yeah, definitely not wrong.
Yeah.
So, and I think, but it's, but we have to have that backstop that if everybody doesn't start on time, including the guy in the net, then it becomes a really, really big problem. So,
Yeah.
we got to have higher level play for sure out of Kochetkov. He's got to get to his game early. He's got to make a save when he shouldn't make it.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's where he's got to get to. And then Freddie, I think Freddie up until probably yesterday had played really well. And maybe he didn't start on time either yesterday. So,
He definitely didn't.
but
Yeah,
I
that
but I
first
think
goal's
we
on
just
him, 100%.
we got to get those two guys there, and maybe this is a symptom of the one on, one off rotation, that when you get to this time of the year, you don't get into that rhythm. You don't get into that flow.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
maybe.
know. Is that part of the problem?
No, I think with Kochetkov, it's just we can all see it. He's fighting confidence, and when a goaltender's fighting confidence, he needs a team in front of him to play really well to help him get out of that funk. And I just don't think he's had a team that's played really well in front of him since he's gotten into the funk. Like, ever since that LA game, every game he started, we seem to look at it and it's like, maybe one's on him, but it just seems like a lot of defensive zone errors consistently. And it's like, okay, but like, if the team's not helping him, I get it. He's not getting a save, but that's all because of the confidence. You want the save, you have to have confidence. Freddie's playing with confidence right now, so he's getting that save. But when you lose that confidence, the team's got to play well around you for you to build it back up. And I just feel like every time he goes into the net, we're just lost completely. And then and then we kind of have a bounce back game whenever Freddie comes back in, and maybe that's a symptom of the team plays more comfortable in front of Freddie than they do Kochetkov right now. But
Yeah.
when Kochetkov's playing well, I think the team plays just as well in front of him as well too. It's just whenever he goes into the skid, the team seems to just like immediately go, oh, like he's not playing well, we can't play well. I don't know what it is, but it's just every time. I feel like every time he goes down, the team goes right down with him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just Freddie doesn't
could be.
go
I mean,
down in confidence as often, but that's also a 34-year-old goaltender versus a 25-year-old. Like it's just a different mindset between the two guys.
Yeah. And, Freddie's been he's been like this his whole career though. He's been very steady and kind of he doesn't let his emotions get, 2 up or 2 down really throughout the year. I mean, he generally stays pretty even keel, which is a good thing obviously, but yeah, I mean, like you said, Kochetkov he's got to make the save he's not supposed to make, especially the first one of the game. Or, I mean, even with Freddie yesterday. I mean, if Freddie doesn't let in that first goal, I don't think it's 2-0. I think it's 0-0 going into the second period, 100%. So it's all about just if you can get out of the period clean, especially the first on the road. If you can get out of the first period clean on the road, their chances go way up of winning, like through the roof. But if they get scored on early, or if they get, they go down 2-0, or God forbid 3 in the first period, it's just over. The game's not winnable. Like they just don't come back.
We don't
and win
have,
those,
we don't have the fight
unfortunately.
back on the road that we do at home.
No, not like that. So
Yeah.
it's tough, but
So
you move on.
we'll see what they come. So we got two more games on the road to try to work through that.
See it back to
challenge and try
500
figure
and
out-
go home 500 off this road trip, and
Let's
that's
just-
a winning
let's
road
just,
trip in my opinion.
put a couple more wins in the
Yeah.
bank and head home. And we won't finish the season at home, but we'll at least the last weekend we'll have a back-to-back. Should be some good games. You got New York coming to town, and then the Leafs I think are on Sunday, so should be good games to watch. Who knows what the outcome's going to look like, but I think are the Rangers, and I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm throwing it out to you guys. Are the Rangers still in the hunt, or are they okay?
Yeah.
They're like 4
They're
points back,
3
though.
points
But
back with one more game played than the teams
Okay,
around them.
so they're
I mean, they're
pretty much out.
like you said, they're. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Unless somehow they have like
it's-
some kind of resurrection,
it's
they
Montreal's
basically
to
got
lose.
they got to win out, and
It is
Yeah.
Montreal's to
yeah,
lose.
at this
So
point.
it's totally in Montreal's control. If they win 75% of their games, they're in.
yeah,
they
for
win
sure.
50%
They
of
can
their
drop
games,
they
they're
can
in.
drop a game or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they win 50%, they have a good
can afford.
chance. Like it's really
Yep.
just in that kind of a boat for because the Rangers are going to have to win out to really give themselves a legitimate chance. And even if they do
To give
win
themselves
out,
a shot. That's
Yeah.
not even going to guarantee they're going to be
even
in.
if they do win out, they got to hope that Montreal only wins 50% of their games. So
how about
exactly.
how about the Jackets? Are they
it's
still
exactly the same
I-
boat. Them,
I mean,
it's
I don't
them,
know.
the Jackets, and
They're
the
even
Islanders.
further back though. But they're 2 point. They're even 2 points further back though.
Hey.
That's the problem.
Yeah, they're at 77. So the Islanders are going to be the only team. They're going to be tied with
Islanders
the
are gonna win
Rangers
today.
today with the same games played as the Rangers because they're winning as of right now against Washington.
Well, that game's gone final, and we'll segue onto that one. So that's the game that Alexander Ovechkin breaks the record. So he's now the all-time goal scoring leader in the NHL, which is pretty cool. I mean, you hate to say it, but not a big Washington fan, but at the same time, you can't argue that that's a pretty huge accomplishment.
No.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. What? 100%.
I didn't think it'd ever be broken.
Nope.
Not back in when he came in the league in 06. I mean, you just didn't expect him. I didn't expect him to have the bounce back year he had this year. I thought last year we were
Yep.
seeing, hey, that was all Ovi. Ovi gave it his all, but last year he just doesn't have it anymore. And listen, he's proved all of us wrong. I mean, obviously the Caps are playing well because he's become, the Ovi of old. So
42 goals for him on
Yeah,
the season.
I mean, I know, just wild.
Yeah.
Like that's so crazy that he has that many. So who knows what the future will hold for him after this year? But he's the greatest goal scorer ever to play the game. So that's definitely something to celebrate. I think it was. I mean, I understand and we'll I'm going to harp on this a little bit.
Oh,
but
yeah, you're going to get me going.
Whole taking the basically doing a 30 to 40 minute, ceremony, which again, I understand because in the moment, if you really think about it, and I was kind of thinking about this kind of after the fact, but you can't capture that energy even if you wait till after the game. Like you can't capture that moment in time, So I do get it. Do I wish they would have waited till after the game? Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. They still got the wheels beat off. They still lost 4-1. So I think that hurt them more than it helped them.
Yeah.
So honestly,
Cam,
I
didn't think about it that way, but I think you're 100%. I was about to really rip into it, but I think you're kind of right because if this was something that happened every 5 years, 100% do the ceremony after the game. Like, let's not
over 30 years.
I forget that this is like, we're probably not going to see this record broken again, at least maybe not until like the latter years of our lifetime. You would think at least another 30,
I don't know if we'll
40
ever see
years.
it broken again. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
we said
I don't know.
we never thought it would be broken in the first place, and now you're
Yeah, that's
looking,
true.
and now Ovi's doing it.
Yeah.
So, and Matthews is scoring at a higher rate than Ovechkin was. So we could see it in 20 years if Matthews does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but let's not forget. I mean, Ovi's kind of a eunuch. He's almost 40 years old, and so you got to have the body to withstand a 40-year-old grind. To get to that 894 goals. So
I know.
I'm not saying that
100%.
Matthews
why I didn't
can't
think
do
he'd get
it,
there.
or
Yeah, Matthews is
or-
6'3",
or-
217, like two.
no.
He's a big dude as well too.
No, I get it. It's just it becomes a physical. Can your body handle it for that long period of time?
Ovi's
So-
been very lucky with injury as well too. So that's
He
another
has,
big
yeah.
component.
Yeah,
he
he
has not
has.
had very many. Although this year he broke his freaking leg, still comes back and scores 42 on the season. This is like,
know.
it's crazy.
And they still got
story.
like 6 games
It's
left.
a crazy story. Like I'm giving
He could hit 50 this year,
Ovi.
which is
I
insane.
think he probably will. I would
I
assume
know.
so. The way he's scoring right now, I think he's as hot as he's ever been. He probably will end the season with 50.
Yeah,
But
I think so.
complete
It's crazy.
hats off to Ovechkin. I mean, it's one of those things that is the only thing I want to say to the people on Twitter, X, everywhere else that are saying, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Ovechkin's now the best player all time in NHL history. He broke the goal scoring." No. Ovi is the greatest goal scorer of all time in NHL
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky's got 26 or 2,700 points, and the next closest guy has it was like 1,800.
It was 1,800. A Yager has
Almost
1,800, so it's like
1,000 less
900
points.
point difference.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
I know.
not close. And that's
It's not that one's not
That
going to be
one's not
touched.
getting
I
touched.
don't see that
No.
one being touched at all.
no.
You have a guy like you have to average what like 150 points a season or something
Pretty
like
much.
that.
Or you
Yeah.
have to do what he
140.
did and have like 6 straight years with 200 plus points
200
in a
plus
season.
points. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not going to happen.
He's the only
It's just not gonna
player to
happen.
ever score 200 plus points, and he did it 6 times. Like,
And
that's
he did it 6
that's
times.
a crazy.
I know.
That's a crazy
Yeah.
thing.
It's just a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even and you even sit here and say that like Ovi's the best goal scorer of all time for sure. And and I'm not trying to overshadow Ovi because of what he's done. Like we're not going to see this broken at all, but if we're going to the playoffs, I'm still taking Crosby.
Me too.
I'm still taking
so
Crosby. Like that's the asterisk I have is like that for this specific piece of his game, he is the best at shooting the puck to an area that he knows it has the highest chance of going in the net because everybody game plans the same way against Ovi. I mean, you
can't stop him.
You literally say he's gonna sit in this spot and he's gonna shoot it. Even on the power play, he's gonna be a one-timer. If he's not, he's gonna sit here and he's gonna take a wrist shot, slap, whatever. He's gonna shoot from the spot, and they still can't stop him. So that is something that we really haven't seen, where it's just like he can just shoot at will from that one spot and it goes in.
Yep.
Like they can't seem to stop him.
Yeah. They can't
So,
seem to defend it.
No.
Yeah.
I know it's just
Yeah.
it's undefendable somehow. I don't get it. I mean, he's just that good when it comes to that spot and shooting at a high rate. But again, for a cup run, I'm still taking Crosby.
Me too.
So that's
Another Wayne Gretzky
For sure.
record was also broken this year, and I think we ought to give and it was broken by Crosby. So we're giving all of our Metro rivals a little bit of love today. But Sidney Crosby becomes the only player to have. So Gretzky had 19 seasons of averaging a point a game, and so Crosby becomes the first player to ever do it in 20 straight seasons of averaging a point a game per season.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, I mean, like just as impressive. The goal scoring one is crazy, but like to average a point a game every single season you've played in the NHL, this is the best league in the world. These are the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's done it every single season he's been in the NHL. And now, granted, I think they're going. This record is going to be easier to break than the OV one. So I think the OV one overall is more impressive just because of the magnitude of it.
I think so too.
But I think we're going to see, like, McDavid's probably going to break this record, the 20 seasons. I could see him having a point a game until he's 41 years old, 42 years. You can see him doing it for 22, 23
McKinnon,
seasons.
Like
Yeah. Him,
there's
McKinnon, even
guys,
Draisaitl,
So,
those guys.
The
I
only
think.
problem with McKinnon is it
Kucherov.
took McKinnon 4 seasons before he was a point a game player. His first 4 years in the NHL, he
that's
was
tough.
under a point a game player. So and then it's like, okay, now he's
That's
got to
gonna be
do it
tough
until
then.
he's 44
Okay.
years old.
Now he's got to play 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now
it
he's
becomes
gotta
a little
play
bit
till
harder.
45. That's tough. So yeah, he probably won't do it, but yeah, I definitely could see McDavid doing it, or I'm not even.
I could see
I'm trying to
Crosby
think. There's
adding
no
2-3
rookies
more
this year that are on a
seasons to
point
his
game.
record.
I think so too.
Crosby could do this till he's
yeah.
41. He's only 37 right now. I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
you got at least 2 more
crazy.
seasons,
Yeah.
maybe 3.
Yeah. He doesn't
Yeah.
look like he's
I mean-
slowing down too much.
No.
No, not
No.
really. They're making a push
Yeah.
tthey might. I mean, if the Cards
If
lay themselves right,
Montreal
they might make
has
the
an
playoffs
absolute
somehow.
collapse, Pittsburgh is in with a shot.
They got a shot, man. They've been rolling. So it's fun to watch though. I mean, obviously, you won't see. I don't foresee this record being broken anytime soon. Like you said, it was 32 years between the last time, because I think it was 93 when Gretzky broke Gordy's record. So
Yes.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was 93, but from what they had said on the broadcast. But yeah, it's fun to watch, man. I mean, this stuff, like I said, it doesn't happen very often. And again, I was giving him some shit about doing it in the middle of the game.
The
but
more you talked about
it's hard
it,
to capture
yeah.
that moment it's hard to capture that emotion in that moment if you just go back to playing the game versus doing it after. Like
Right.
that, I understand.
And Gretzky was
So,
probably like, "Let's get the hell out of here." Afterwards, he's like,
Yeah, he wants to leave. He's
I'm
like, I
on
don't
my
wanna watch an
PJ
Islanders game
home,
anymore.
and right now, it was
Yeah.
gassed up before
It's
he
like-
was even down on the ice surface.
Probably.
He was
I don't-
ready
I don't
to
blame him.
leave.
It was
I
in
don't
the
wanna
it was
watch
in
an
the
Islanders
parking
game.
lot.
It was. Like,
Yeah.
Like a short
Right.
short runway takeoff. so.
and talk about class acts. Another, like, Gretzky, I know Gordy did it for him, so it's a pass the baton thing. I fully suspect that if Matthews comes close towards the latter half of his career, Ovechkin will do the exact same thing for him. But just an overall class act. I think that that's the one thing that sets the NHL apart from a lot of other leagues is the representation and the passing of the kind of guard in a way. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it becomes a big deal and it is a big thing. So I was very I was like, they should just do this after. I was like, what are they like? Give Ovi like a victory lap, let him skate around, and then do the ceremony after the game. But the Morcam was like, this, it's capturing the emotion of it. It's not going to capture it again. So I 100% agree. It's hard to do, and I think Theo feels the same way. Maybe that was me.
Yeah,
I can't tell.
Theo agrees with us.
Somebody was agreeing
Yeah.
with us.
Somebody agrees.
Somebody was
Yeah.
somebody was in favor.
He was taking his Ovi victory lap around the stairs.
Well, speaking of deadly Russians, Ska lost, and our deadly Russian might be on his way over here. And my goodness, Alexander Nikishin. I almost just had a seizure. I don't know why I wanted to say Nikita as his first name, but Alexander Nikishin. So Ska lost. I'm presuming he's on the first plane over from Russia. And we got to hammer a deal out with him because I don't think he signs an ELC. I could be wrong, but I think he's past the ELC deadline point. But I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
The Russian
I mean, I think
situation's always been different.
it's always weird.
Yeah.
But sometimes they come in because I think Kaprizov did the same thing.
But he came in
And
at
he
like
came-
$2.5 million. Like his first two
No, that's
seasons,
what I
he
mean.
was making
But
money.
he came in
Yeah.
not under like an entry level contract. So I think
How much cap space do the Canes have this year? Like remaining this season?
That's a great question.
I don't
I have
actually
no
know.
idea.
I know they have a bunch going
I
in the
think we
offseason
have
because
like
I mean,
3
who
mil.
knows?
Because Rantanen,
Yeah.
we
So, I mean, they'd be able
offloaded the
to-
Rantanen
yeah.
contract, and that was a lot of. That was $6.5 million. We took on Stankoven, who was on an
Yeah.
ELC. So we have to have cap space.
I would imagine
Yeah,
we
gotta have
do.
something.
So anyway, I guess our data analytics department has shut down on Sunday, so we'll have to talk to them on Monday to get them back up to speed on whether or not we know all this data. Or not.
I'm looking right now. Give me a second. Hold on.
So you're the reserve team.
So our current cap space is $2.5 million.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
I
mean,
can see him signing
yeah,
at two,
they-
like a 2-year, $2 million
just for the
deal,
remainder. Yeah.
just to get his foot in
Yeah.
the door.
Well, they could. I mean, they could. But can't they change the AAV so they could be like 3.5 or 4, but they could backload the contract, so make this year only $1 million and next year like
Still
6
counts
or something to
so
balance
it's the
it out. Can
average
they still do
AAV
that?
counts for the salary cap. So
Yeah,
it's,
so it's
it's
not
the
per
same.
year,
So that's what
it's
hits
the
the
same
cap?
per
Okay.
year, so it doesn't change whether you're paying up front or paying in the
Okay.
back end. It's just more. A lot of the players will take back end contracts to try and save some money from like.
Maybe they sign a 1 year with them and just sign them this, and then they'll sign them in the offseason again.
I would
Basically.
think it's going to be a lot like Kaprizov's deal was, where he came over right before playoffs and they had him for the playoff run, and he burnt 1 year of a 2-year deal off, and then he had one whole season under that $2 million contract, which is what again, we could sign him and not play him, and then we have him for 2 years, but I don't think it's only going to be a 1-year deal. I think it might have to
Yeah.
be longer than that. I'm not sure, but they're not going to sign him past when he can become a UFA. I know
Yeah.
that. So it's going to be, if they can sign him probably for 2 years before he's a UFA, they're going to, I think, try and squeeze it out so he's an RFA when he comes up for his next contract.
So the only way if we were lacking space and he did require more money, we would have to waive somebody that's on a one way, and to clear up that cap space, right? Is that the way it would work?
I mean, no, because we are running a higher roster, so we could send Morrow down, free up the 8,975 off of his contract, and then we could also send Yost down, clean up the 975 off his contract as well too. Like we could send.
So they're on two ways.
They're on two ways
then.
currently, but because they're called up and they're sitting on our active roster, they technically are. We could also put William Carrier on LTIR because he's been out. We could retroactively put him on LTIR until he's back, and that frees up another $3.5 million in cap space.
Yeah, because the LTIR
Or sorry, one and a half. Sorry.
Yeah, because he wouldn't. Again, it would free up that caps. It would free up more cap space if we put him on LTIR. And again, he can come back game 1 of round 1.
Yeah.
So,
You just have to miss more than 30 days,
that's-
so we could retroactively do it because he's already missed over 30 days.
So if Nikishin does come, though, does he have to play in a regular season game or be signed before the end of the regular season?
No.
So we could sign him during playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's what they did with Cale McCarr.
His
they
first
signed
game
McCarr
was
right out
game
of
2.
college. His first game was game 2 of the play. Yeah, it was like in the playoff run when they won the cup.
Right.
So
Okay.
that they can definitely do it, as long as they have to be obviously like a drafted player by them.
Carolina has to have
they
the
have
rights
to have
of the
ownership. You
player.
can't just pick up a free
Yeah.
agent. Yeah, you have to have the rights to the player
You
before
could pick
the
up.
deadline.
We could pick up a free agent if we wanted to.
I was going to say that was going to be my question. How about a free agent?
You
'Cause
can.
if somebody's
I
sitting
didn't
out
think
there.
we could.
You could, because that's what technically Carolina did with Justin Williams. We signed him post the deadline because he only played like 5 or 6 games with us before the playoffs, but we signed him post deadline. So technically speaking, if a team wanted to and they felt like he was viable enough, somebody could go out and pick up Jonathan Taves.
Yeah.
Because he's
I don't know if he's been skating.
No, he has been. He wants to make a comeback next year. He's been skating every single day in Arizona. It's like been big news that he was trying to make a comeback. But
Well, that's good.
that'd be
That's
crazy.
interesting. I hadn't really thought about the free agent side of
yeah.
um
So another
I don't know
if
if
you
there's
ever
really
got
any
a gap,
big ones,
if
though.
there's somebody lingering out there that could add a little bit of piece to your roster. So
and
what if
I
it's a
could be-
team? If it's
I could be
if
incorrect.
it's somebody in the
on-
minors.
I could be incorrect on certain aspects of this, but I do believe you can sign. Maybe it is only guys that are drafted or unsigned currently that you can sign post the deadline and have them play. Maybe that's the situation. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that you can bring a guy post deadline if they're not on a contract currently. Like, because that was going to be my idea was like, I don't think Brendan Lemieux's on a contract with any NHL team. So would going to pick up a guy like him be beneficial for a game or two? I don't know.
Yeah. So, we'll see. But there are guys out there that are, I guess, sitting in the wings. Maybe they're playing in the minors, but don't have an NHL contract. So,
Again, I'm not 100% sure with all of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like I said, I know with guys that are under your rights that don't have contracts, you can sign them on to because look at Ryan Leonard just signed. So he just signed and that was post deadline. So same with Gabe Perreault, and then there was that goalie from UConn that signed with Colorado.
Yeah.
Did they sign
Okay.
with Colorado or New York? I can't remember. Anyways,
Yeah. I don't know either. I mean, Jimmy Snuggerud signed with the Blues too, I think.
yes,
So,
another guy.
a lot of guys came out of the NCAA that had their rookie laps around.
Really
around the rink.
surprised that we didn't end up signing Jaden Perron from UND, but he went to the transfer portal. He's going to BU next year. So he's leaving North Dakota and going to BU because North Dakota, they lost their coach. The whole organization seems like it's fallen upside down on its head. They've missed the NCAA tournament 4 years in a row.
Yep.
Now.
Yeah. Ever since they dropped the Sioux, I think it's
Yep.
their fight has sort of gone by the wayside.
Mhm. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, no. So, well, hopefully, hopefully the Canes can find their magic again, because especially on the road. I think we've got good magic at home, but we just need to transition that out of Lenovo Center into all the rest of the barns around the league because it's going to be so critical right now, and I really don't want to head into the playoffs on a sour note when it comes to losses on the road. Because you lose home ice advantage at any point during the playoffs, man. It becomes a road way uphill that we don't seem to find our way up to very often at the end of the day. So
In my opinion, you have to, in order to win Stanley Cup playoffs, you have to win one road game in each series. It's probably not
I agree.
statistically 100% of the time, but like I feel like on average, you have to win at least 4 road games through your playoff run in order to win a cup. You can win 75% of your games at home, but you got to win at least one on the road in each kick at the can in order to have a really good shot at it. So unless you're Colorado from that one year, even then they swept 2 teams and they won 4 games on the road right there. So, but yeah, it's just we're gonna have to figure it out at some point. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's hopefully soon. And and the 2 guys the kid in that, that's the one that I really worry about heading into playoffs. Because of Freddie's longevity and in his proneness to not being able to go many games in a row. That's what becomes problematic for me. And if you start stretching a series from 4 games to 7, then you're asking a guy to play 28 games in a span of 2.5 months, and that's tough to do. That's tough to do for anybody, especially even the elite level goaltenders. They're gonna struggle with it. But we need to come around. He needs to come around and figure that piece of his game out.
The one thing that I always say, I think that we do have a championship pedigree goaltender in our system. I think and the reason I say this is, you look at Jordan Binnington, kind of the way he grew up. He won everything growing up. Won World Juniors, won the CHL, won everything he'd done. And you take him to the NHL, he wins Stanley Cup. You take him to playoffs, he wins. Sometimes regular season's not the same story, but you take him into the big games that matter, and he wins those games. Kochetkov has won the VHL. He's won the AHL. His team made the finals in the KHL. He has won everything and every position and everywhere he's gone to. I don't think it's going to be any different. I think when the lights shine brightest, that's when Kochetkov shines the best. I think if Anderson can take us to the promised land, he's the number 1 guy. That's who you're going to ride going into playoffs. But if he goes down, don't be surprised if Kochetkov has an absolute showing in playoffs, because he always seems, whenever the lights get the brightest, he has the best games. Think about all the arenas he plays the best in. Plays real good in Toronto, plays real good at Madison Square Garden every time we go there. Anytime we're in one of these big cities, big venues, he always seems to have a good game. Maybe not Detroit, but that's not really a big city.
No. Well, I think he's got to figure it out. And I think, I'm hoping that he will, because we need him to, because we need him to be as advertised. Like you said, if he's going to be that championship pedigree, then he's got to figure that piece of his game out and get to that point, because we're going to need him in the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind that, our playoff run is going to go the way of our goaltending. And if, we just have to clean up some other areas of our game, but for the most part, we have to have elite level goaltending in the playoffs to have any shot at, bringing the jug back to Raleigh.
Bringing the big jug.
Bringing the big jug. So anyways, we're, I guess we're at the hour mark here, Kyle, maybe just short of it. So let's see, what you guys want to around the horn and 3 stars, or do you want to table any other topic that we want to argue about and fight about?
Not much else today, at least.
Not today,
now.
anyways.
We'll
okay,
we'll
we'll table the fights for another day.
What were we talking about last week?
Man, I tell you what, that's 7 days. That's guy. 7 days ago, man.
Weird. It was after the call. I forget.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Now you're really
stretching it.
Well, we'll just go to 3 stars. Yeah, that's fine.
Let's just go there. So who wants to go first? I can if you guys.
Yeah, you go.
A few minutes to think about it. So, I think for me, again, you could, other than probably the Boston game, I think you could give Jacob Slavin the 3rd star every week, and I think I am going to this week from the previous games that he played. I'm gonna give him a lot of rope and he's gonna have a bad game here and there. So, but I think he'll be number 3, and then for me the combo of Jarvis and Blake, I'm gonna give Jarvis 2nd and Blake 1st, because I think Jackson Blake was absolutely outstanding even in our losses, I thought he was good. He was creative. He was he was creating so much opportunity for everybody.
Scoring.
And then Seth Jarvis was, he could have easily been the first star for me too. But I think Blake has just added so much to that line, and everybody, all the pundits were saying, "What in the hell are you guys doing putting Jackson Blake with Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho?" Sort of like the mini me line. But I tell you what, they are so good, and he comes up with pucks that you just like, how did he do that? You know, so for me, it's Blake 1, Jarvis 2, and Slavin 3.
Yeah, I think I have I agree with your first two. Those are going to be my first two as well. Blake number 1 and Jarvis number 2. I'm gonna throw Sean Walker in there at number 3. I just think he's played so well and so consistent for the past few months at least. I mean, it took him a little while to get used to it, but man, he's in our top 3 defensemen pretty much every single game. He doesn't really have many games off, so yeah, for me, he's up there too. But yeah, no, Blake number 1 for sure. I mean, he's finally starting to score. I think he was kind of getting unlucky. He had a couple of them called back and just, hitting posts. And he was, like I said, and we had said this a couple weeks ago, like he seems to always find himself in the right spot. It's just he wasn't able to finish. And now he's, hopefully finally turning the corner. So, but yeah, those are my 3.
Yeah, I can't argue with either of you guys' third choice. I think Slavin and Walker, out of everybody on the D core, was definitely probably up there. I do have one other guy, but my third star is going to be Logan Stankoven. He gets on the board. I think he's finally starting to fit into, not fit, but figure out our system, figure out how we play, figure out where guys are going to be, and really start to look more comfortable. I should say that would probably be a better word for it, but he's looking more and more comfortable, and he's just getting better and better, which is exciting for Canes fans to see, because I think he's going to be, we talk about Blake. I think he has the same kind of upside as Blake does as well too. I think he's just had a slow season as of right now, but then on top of that, getting traded halfway through the season, like a lot has changed in a very young career of his. So I just give him a little bit of time, but I think he's got a lot of upside as well too. My second star is going to be Sean Gossespierre, actually. And this for the reason of, we got 3 power play goals in the Washington game. We also scored another power play goal in the Detroit game. Power play is starting to buzz, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Ghost is starting to look more like the Ghost of old. We're starting to get a little bit closer to that first half of the season when he was electric and on fire. He was moving the puck really well. He was moving his feet. He was controlling the blue line and commanding the blue line, and he's starting to do that again. So I'm very happy to see that. Wanted to keep going. Number 1 star, Jackson Blake. Yeah, I mean, I think Stankoven can get to where Blake can get to, but in the same vein of breath, I also think Blake is cut out to be a superstar in this league. So we're talking like Mitch Marner, like right up there with those kind of guys. Just the way he dominates a game, the way he controls the puck, the way he can walk off the wall, the way he can dance guys. He has all the tools. It was just about getting the points to back up the talk of everything. Now the goals are coming. The assists are going to start coming more and more. The more he scores, the more assists he's going to get, just because he becomes a dual threat option. Right now, everybody and their mother knows he's trying to pass the puck because he can't really score that well. Now, all of a sudden, he's open for so many scoring opportunities, and he's starting to find the back of the net, which is only a positive thing. And again, the more he scores, the more assists he's going to get. The more assists he gets, the more goals he's going to get. I think the ceiling is so high for him. This is the most confident I've been in a guy as far as like he could be 100-point guy as I think I've ever seen in Carolina. Like, just he's so good, so dynamic. And if we can get a piece to add to him like a Mitch Marner, my goodness, talk about an offseason. Those 2 guys on the same line would be an electric factory. I don't care who's in the middle of them.
Yep. No, I 1,000,000% agree. I think the ceiling is not even close to being reached for his potential. And as he grows and gets stronger and more physical and just grows into his call it his man strength, but he's
gets
just
a little
gonna get
grittier
better.
too. I would love a little bit of that too.
He's just going to get his ceiling is so high. I love Stankoven, but I don't think his ceiling is as high as Blake is. I mean, I think maybe he can get there, maybe not. But
Only reason is Stankoven also is a 160 point guy in juniors, and again, that's you're talking really high company when you're going over 150 points in any season in juniors. So that's where I think his ceiling can be high. Again, I just think his game has been all over the place. But sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. No. I think the biggest difference I see with those two right now is the wall play of Blake versus Stankoven. I think the wall play is significantly better out of Jackson Blake.
Mm-hmm.
He can come out with pucks that Stankoven's not coming out with right now. Now, not saying that he can't get there, and I'd love it if he could get there, because to have a dual threat like that on a second, third line, or even a first line, I mean, that's ridiculous. But I think, anybody that's out there listening that, we said it early on, and I've been a fan of his right since training camp, but he is the real deal, and his ceiling is higher than I've ever seen coming into a player in Carolina.
I think I've been saying this since first season of this podcast. I was talking about the preseason scouting of those rookies.
We'll go back and scout it. I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I mean, I'll just say that I love the kid and I love the way he plays the game.
Oh, he's ridiculous. Yeah. And on top of that, we got another prospect in Nadeau who's got his 29th goal in the season and basically scored, I think, 4 goals going into December. So we're talking 25 goals in the last 3 months. So really positive stuff to see out of him as well, too.
So anyway, final, we'll call it the final shift. Anything else from you guys you want to add before we send everybody on their way?
No, Cam wants to
I'm good over
put
here.
together a deal with the Pagula family to somehow get Tage Thompson in a Carolina Hurricanes sweater. So outside of that,
who do we got to give up? That's the question. I'm not asking why are you asking for this. I'm asking who.
How about a first round pick in Andrei Svechnikov?
Hell, I'll give him the 2 firsts we got out of that Dallas deal and Svech. So here you go. Have fun.
Yeah.
They need to rebuild. What's the point of having a 40 goal scorer on your team if you're in the middle of a rebuild?
Yeah. No, I understood.
I know they want to keep him, but still, come on.
All right, we'll start
Kevin Adams.
Write-in campaign to get Tage Thompson to the Carolina Hurricanes.
I got a deal of a lifetime for the Sabres, and honestly, the Pagulas might honestly go for it. We'll give you Orlov, Svechnikov, and 2 firsts for Tage and Dahlin. I mean, it's pretty even trade both ways, I think.
Well, that would mean we'd have to re-sign Orlov, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. That somehow that turnaround bite us in the ass. I'm quite certain.
Yeah, somehow that would make it worse.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that should just about do it. So for those that have hung in there this long, we thank you very much for doing that, and we'd like to thank you for supporting us as much as you can and share as much as you can, because the more you do, the more we can do, and we love doing this. So for Kyle, Cam, and myself, we'll talk to you next week.